followed were close behind, eyeing me keenly. I'm satisfied that they were to blame for that wild ride we took in Pittsburgh. I soon saw by the remarks that the man I was supposed to be had been away from this country for 10 years, and of course then they would not be very critical. I tried twice to explain that there was a mistake, but both times they misunderstood me and thought I was saying I couldn't go in the procession because I hadn't practiced. I don't just know how I came to be in such a dreadful mess. It would seem as if it ought to have been a very easy thing to say I had got into the wrong carriage and they must excuse me, that I wasn't their man. But you see, they gave me no time to think nor to speak. They just turned me over from one man to another and took everything for granted, and I, finding that I would have to break loose and flee before their eyes if I wished to escape, reflected that there would be no harm in marching down the aisle as best man in a delayed wedding, if that was all there was to do. I could disappear as soon as the ceremony was over, and no one would be the wiser. The real best man would probably turn up, and then they might wonder as they pleased, for I would be far away, and perhaps this was as good a place as any in which to hide for half an hour, until my pursuers were baffled, and well on their way seeking elsewhere for me. I can see now that I made a grave mistake in allowing even so much deception, but I did not see any harm in it then, and they all seemed in great distress for the ceremony to go forward. Bear in mind, also, that I was at that time entirely taken up with the importance of hiding my message until I could take it safely to my chief. Nothing else seemed to matter much. If the real best man was late to the wedding, and they were willing to use me in his place, what harm could come from it? He certainly deserved it for being late, and if he came in during the ceremony, he would think someone else had been put in his place. They introduced me to your brother, Jefferson. I thought he was the bridegroom, and I thought so until they laid your hand in mine." "Oh!" she moaned, and the little hand went to help its mate cover her face. "I knew it," he said bitterly. "I knew you would feel just that way as soon as you knew. I don't blame you. I deserve it. I was a fool, a villain, a dumb brute, whatever you have a mind to call me. You can't begin to understand how I have suffered for you since this happened, and how I have blamed myself." He got up suddenly and strode over to the window, frowning down into the sunlit street, and wondering how it was that everybody seemed to be going on in exactly the same hurry as ever, when for him life had suddenly come to a standstill. End of chapter 15.